All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one is gonna finally be doing my episode review for The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 16, A Certain Doom. Oh man, this was an absolutely brutal wait to get to see this final episode, man. This episode was so cooked up as sort of the climactic sort of end battle for the Whispers. We weren't even sure it was going to be. Spoilers to fall for this review for you guys, man. It feels like it has been forever. I even almost forgot where we were at in the Walking Dead television series with all the crazy stuff happening in the world. But it didn't take me too long to get right back into Walking Dead mode after watching a few minutes of this episode. I was like, oh, okay, I kind of snapped right back into it after a little bit. But A Certain Doom, man. So this was intended to be originally the season finale for season 10, and it sort of still is, but they're doing an additional 6 episodes that I've already started filming, and we're going to be getting to see those early 2021. So not too far off from now. It feels like, well, I guess we'll see when the actual release date of those is going to be. But this episode absolutely for me did not disappoint. It was a long wait, man. It took a while, and we had seen a good, I want to say maybe 5 minutes, like the intro sequence and a lot of stuff in the trailers from it. So, you know, in terms of runtime, it was about, 40 minutes or so of new content for Walking Dead. But I got to say, for 40 minutes, they did an incredible job with these 40 minutes. It's crazy to think that, because I almost forgot with all the, the time in between. But pretty quickly, again, I just was watching. I was like, oh, yeah, that's why I love this show so much. Because I've been watching, like, all this different stuff during this time, paying attention to world stuff and everything. And it didn't take me too long. At first, I'm asking, like, hey, this is really that good? I haven't watched for a while. It's like, Walking Dead, is it really that good? It's like, oh, yeah, it is. Damn right it is. The moment for me when that happened was when the Whisperers are walking out of the zombie herd and they grab the other zombies to use as body shields, and they're shooting the arrows into them, and they're just like getting all smashed up, but the Whispers behind them are still holding them, pushing them forward. That was such a just a creepy, horrifying scene as you see their bodies are kind of limp, and you have the ones behind them that are kind of steering them sort of towards the others. There was some awesome, like, horror scenes in this episode, man. And also kind of some comedy as well, too. Some fun stuff with, like, the burning down the house and all that was fun. We really have 4 different kind of sections or groups going on here with this episode. Starting off where we left off with Daryl and our kind of core group with the tower, Gabriel being attacked by Beta, being attacked by the Whispers. Then in addition to that, we have Maggie, who makes an awesome return in this one, I felt, right in the nick of time. I kind of expected something like that. But I liked how they did it, and that they used her for, like, to save Gabriel, but then they also had kind of somewhat of a climactic battle with Beta, Negan, and Daryl, which was really cool. And then surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, but we had Connie return in this one, and her be found by Virgil. And then we had the storyline with Eugene, Ezekiel, Yumiko, and Princess meeting Stephanie's group, the Commonwealth, which we'll see if they're any different in the TV series version, but their gear is like right out of the comics, even like the white and red stormtrooper outfits and whatnot. It's almost cartoony to see them kind of run out like this and everything, but it was cool. They look just like that in the comics, basically exactly. And there was a lot of comic stuff, in this one, I want to say, or at least it felt very comic book-ish to me. A lot of moments from the comics, especially with the cliff and everything. Just so much good stuff happening this episode. It's almost crazy to think they crammed it into just 40 minutes, but we have all of this different stuff going on, and I thought that it made for what would be basically a perfect conclusion to the Whispers in the Walking Dead television series. I like the sort of epiphany that kind of comes to them, which is that instead of kind of running from the Whispers and being hunted by them, the kryptonite is that you have to hunt them. So you got to go the other way around. You got to make them the prey and you the hunters and go after them. And that seems to work absolutely perfect for the survivors in this one. In the Whisperers are used to stalking, hunting, and going after their prey, and they're not really so used to someone actually using their tactics against them and coming after them. So you do have the awesome fight scenes in this one. How can we not discuss this one first? But the final battle between Negan, Beta, and Daryl. It was pretty awesome. It was quicker than what you guys know that I probably would have wanted to see. I would like to see a little bit more back and forth. I was kind of hoping to see Negan like come out with a Lucille and maybe break it on Beta's back, something like this. Or just something of the sort like that, a little bit more there. It ended up being a little bit quicker than that, but it was still freaking awesome, and it was a really cool scene when Beta gets Negan down after he says, what does he say? Hey, shithead, or something like that, and gets him down, and then Daryl comes in unexpectedly, ganks him, and then does the double Bowie knives in the eyes of Beta. And I thought the way they did the scene was cool too, because then they kind of switched to Beta's perspective of it, of him sort of being joining the dead and everything, and we are the end of the world and all that. So I sort of felt somewhat almost kind of bad for Beta at that time, but yeah, he was an absolute maniac. He had to go, and there was a lot of the cool scenes that we'd seen a few of them as he's kind of talking to the dead, and they're kind of responding to him or doing whatever in his mind, right? So it's sort of like in his mind, he sees it as he's communicating with them, and he's kind of leading them and everything, and they're sort of responding to him when they kind of use like the flashing to kind of show that, okay, that's not actually the case. They're not actually, the dead are obviously not actually following and listening to him. But in his mind, that kind of is how he pieces it in together and how it fits in. So it was a fitting kind of end battle for Beta. Just wished it would have been a little bit more there. But that's okay, because there was all kinds of other stuff happening in the episode as well, too. We won't really go over the intro stuff, because we've already seen that before, the whole begin thing with Beta and all that, and Gabriel and everything. We get the intro. We get the stuff with Eugene, Ezekiel, and the princess kind of going, and them. So Eugene wipes out, it sounds like, on the bike, riding too fast. They think they're not going to make it. Eventually, they do make it there. You get some kind of fun stuff in there with the princess and everything, and kind of the show at the end with the lights and everything, and them kind of coming out. And so greetings. So there's some fun stuff with that. It was pretty good, but it's kind of overshadowed. It feels like that's kind of set up for next season, or I guess for those additional 6 episodes that we're going to see early next year. But definitely it was overshadowed by some of the other stuff in the episode. We have Daryl, Carol, and Gabriel. So they kind of come together with their plan of how they're going to do this. They're going to lead the horde away and everything. They're going to split up, go out in groups. Some are going to stay back with, like, you have Judith and, some of the others with Gabriel. And that was pretty cool when the Whispers were kind of coming in, and there was the booby trap one that went down, and then the others that kind of came in and were axing down the door. And right as I'm expecting someone to shoot an arrow, like, why don't you shoot an arrow through the spot it's the Whisper is making? But it ends up throwing like a grenade in and killing 2 of the guys that are right there, which was pretty cool, a little bit unexpected, and it was really, really exciting to see that whole thing happen. We get the question of, those that are in and around not trusting Lydia, not trusting Negan because of their past and everything. And, Lydia obviously being a Whisperer before as Alpha's daughter. And I loved how she kind of got the mask. She wore the Alpha mask. Beta even sees her in it and sort of gets like intrigued by it and kind of riled up by it and everything. And that was a great scene when the mask goes over the cliff, and you kind of see it with all the other CG walkers falling down into falling off the cliff. But it was really cool, man. I liked it for Lydia that she got to sort of like wear Alpha's skin, there kind of to wrap things up at the end, and her and Carol kind of rejects kind of taking her under her wing because of how many different kids Carol has sort of been sort of a foster mom for, or a surrogate mom for, and whether it be Sam or any of the others, and they just all die. So as soon as Lydia gives hints that might be something that she would want to have that kind of relationship with Carol, like a second mom type of thing, Carol right away shoots it down, and you know, in this case, actually, it's sort of Lydia almost in a way that kind of helps come and save Carol when Carol doesn't really know what to do in that situation. And Lydia, having so much experience being in and around the dead, knows that, okay, you can do this and this will work, and they're not going to all notice you and chow down on you and rip you apart. So I did love the final scene. You got the sun and everything, and them kind of coming over during the day. So that was really amazing to see. You know, also there were some really cool deaths in the herd that were going. Like Beatrice was one of them, right? Because she's been there for a few years now as from the ocean side, and she gets absolutely smoked. That was an awesome scene when the one comes in at her, and then Carol gets her, but then she kind of stabs her. The Whisperer stabs Beatrice, keeping her there as the walkers absolutely rip her to shreds in the type of death that would be somewhat like a Noah-esque type of death for Walking Dead. If you guys remember when he gets ripped absolutely to pieces, ripped to shreds. There was a good number of those here in this one, and it made it really scary as they're in this giant walker herd and they're like all over the place. It just feels like a sea of zombies for a while, maybe the most we've ever seen, or somewhat similar to like sort of like the season 6 herd, as amazing as that was when we first saw it. If you guys remember that, we'd never seen anything like that before, and we saw like this giant freaking herd of I think like 30,000 zombies or something like that. This was somewhat like that, or one of those times when we just get to see so many. It's just impressive to see the amount that they're able to kind of show in and around as they're kind of walking in and around. You have the arrows going into a couple of them as well too, which was exciting, which I liked as they're trying to spot them and shoot out, but it's kind of futile after a little while. And then you have them kind of all sort of get together, right? And then they execute their plan, which is to turn on the music, and you get the music speaker, which was some fun stuff, burning down the house. So that was fun as well too, as you saw kind of the music play and all of them start to kind of walk out, and Beta's like, no, because he's kind of losing it, right, as they're kind of walking away. He doesn't know what to do, but the Whisperers respond well to it after when they come out with the body shields, like I said. And like I said, for me, that was so amazing. It was so like horrifying to see their bodies like limp and stuff as they were getting shot at and everything, but it was really exciting to see that kind of fight go down and everything. And I also thought it was kind of funny in an unintentional way when the Whisperers get onto the cart that's being carried, the music thing, and instead of just like turning it off, like pressing a button or something, they start like hacking and smashing like the musical equipment, which for some reason that to me just made me laugh a little. It's like, and then white noise puzzles out, but it's like, why don't they just press the off switch? You know, finally, where's the off switch? Instead they're like savages, like you know, beating up the. It's almost like they're subhuman. They're beating up the musical equipment and everything, which was just really funny. And that's when they kind of go off to the side and decide that the hunters must become the hunted must become the hunters, and they go after them in a few pretty cool scenes, like the one where I think Magna, what does she slash one of their throats or something? The others get in there and they're taking them down. You hear the screams everywhere, and then Beta gets approached by them, being unafraid, and Negan kind of approaching him, kind of going down pretty quickly again as he uses a walker to sort of throw it at him before Daryl intervenes and gets the I guess what would be considered sort of as the ultimate final Whisperer kill, as the final big bad or the final boss of the Whisperers, as he stabs Beta, half moon Beta, double in the eyes. And then after there's a question of, do you know who that was? And as Negan says, and he says, yeah, nobody. Now in the comic version, it's because in the comic version, he was like a famous basketball player, I believe. The TV series version, they've always alluded that he was like he's like a famous musician or something. But Daryl doesn't give a shit. He just wants to kill him. That's it. At this point, he doesn't see him as anything different, even though maybe Negan will bring it up later next season or something, or maybe not. But I thought it was cool, and it worked out really well, bringing us up to the cliff scenes and all that stuff that went into to afterwards. The save part with Maggie, where her and is it Mercer with her? I'm not sure. With the knives, or what are they called? Commas, right? Where he's with the mask on and everything as he's killing the ones to save Gabriel. It just looks like that Gabriel's going to be killed right at that moment by the Whisperers, and she comes in at the last minute to save. But even more than that, I love to see Maggie back where she sees or gets to meet kind of an older Gracie, and then Judith. And I just love that scene with her and Judith, and that probably based on just the way she looks and the gear and everything, that Maggie just knows right away that's Judith. And you get the sense that she doesn't really have to ask. She just knows right away that it is. And yeah, I love that scene, man. That was an awesome one. I admit I got a little teary during that scene. That was really cool. I really like that one a lot, man. That was really good. And so I loved everything basically. And then right up until the cliff part when Carol's like kind of standing there and everything, and then they start kind of going over and everything, and Lydia kind of saves her in a way. And like I said, to the end when the Commonwealth sort of come out, just like the comics, to surround Princess, Eugene, Yumiko, and Ezekiel. So I absolutely love the episode. I understand why it took them so long and they really had to wait. Most likely because the part that they probably didn't finish editing was probably the part where all the walkers were going over the cliff. Because that would have been done likely afterwards. And by the time when the shutdown came up for us in real life, likely they hadn't totally finished off those editing effects at that point. Now, getting to see it now, you can understand why that obviously would have been a lot of work to do that, especially the mask kind of flowing down and everything, Alpha's mask that goes over and everything as it kind of goes down. But I just felt like this was such an incredible kind of finish for the Whisperers. I absolutely loved it. It was almost in some ways a perfect finish. Like I said, I just would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more of a fight with Beta as kind of like the final fight. But then again, it's just kind of the way I think it goes with TV series, that when it comes to the action stuff, it takes a long time to get a little, very short amount of action, takes a long time to choreograph and do and everything. We did get to see, plus last season, the fight sequence between Beta and Daryl already with the elevator shaft and everything like that. So we got to see that. It's sort of similar to in season 8. You had kind of the key with Negan versus Rick when they got to have a really good fight, and then when it came up to the final battle, the end of All Out War, and kind of the way that capped off, the fight wasn't quite as long. But definitely, this was a much better ending, I felt like, to the Whisperers kind of story than All Out War was to the Negan Saviors arc. I thought that this one was done way better than that. It is an incredible episode. I know it was a long wait for 40 minutes, but I definitely was not disappointed in any way. This is like the perfect cap off, I think, to the Whisperer story and to the season for The Walking Dead season 10. Could they have used the Whisperers a little bit more and done a little bit more with them? Yeah, maybe, but they have used them a lot. Got to keep in mind they came in right after Rick left, and they start off really strong. I think as villains, they finished off really strong. They brought a unique challenge to Daryl, and I almost said Rick, but Daryl and the group and everybody. And so it was really cool. Now we get to see things change again as Maggie comes back. Virgil is back in the story as well, too, saving Connie, it looks like. And, you have kind of the setup for the new Commonwealth storyline with Eugene and the others. So, score for the episode, I'm going to give it a 10, guys. I think it's an incredible episode. Do keep in mind that when they set up to do this episode, COVID was not on anybody's radar. Nobody knew that we were going to have to wait 6 months to get this episode. Nobody had any idea. So, it wasn't intended to be sort of a standalone epic kind of TV movie release or anything like that. But for me, just as a hardcore Walking Dead fan, having followed the series for so many years, I felt like it was that level for me. It was that good for me, even though it was only 40 minutes of new stuff, but it was still that good for me to get to see it all the way through because it felt new. And after doing 10 seasons with 16 episode runs since after the first couple seasons there, doing that many episodes of Walking Dead, and you have Fear on top of that, to do an episode like this where we got to see some stuff that really did feel different, really did feel new, and really was fun and exciting to see. Absolutely loved it. The only downside of it is that in the back of my mind, I keep saying to myself, just remember, Trevor, there's only 30 episodes left of this series and it's over. It's like, shit, what the hell am I gonna watch after this is over, man? This series fucking rules, man. This is awesome, dude. There's nothing I enjoy as much as Walking Dead, guys. You guys know. It's my favorite. There's just no getting around it. I absolutely love it. Sometimes you get out of something for a while and you go back and check it out and you're like, why do I like this so much? Not with Walking Dead, man. After about 5 minutes, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why. This is awesome. So, a scary episode. Awesome stuff. Some great horror. Some great fight sequences. An epic conclusion. The mask going off. Beta's demise. You know, it was just a really, really incredible episode, man. I absolutely loved it. And a great cap-off for the Whisperer story arc. Much better than what the Season 8 finale was for All Out War. This one definitely topped that for a final battle for the Whisperers. So that'll be it for this review, guys. Let me know what you thought about it. Was it worth the wait for you? I know some people don't enjoy Walking Dead as much as I do, so let me know what you thought. But I thought it was perfect, man. I thought it killed it. And I'll be back soon for the live stream. We do a live stream. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do that, and I'll do a review for the Walking Dead next spin-off series, World Beyond, pretty soon as well, too. So lots more good stuff to come, guys. And Fear starts next week and everything, so it's good stuff. Love the finale episode. Not disappointed by it at all. And I'll see you guys soon for another video. Thumb it up, share, favorite, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. It's Trav saying peace. Later, guys.